I'm up next.
Yep. And then lunch. You need anything from me?
No.
Cool. So make sure my account's this. This will be the live stream. Yeah, I think so. Give me.
Because I gotta like
Okay. Everybody's ever getting hungry, we're gonna make sure you get fed. We got caffeine on the way as well. We got drinks, we got food. We're right there. I'm bringing up a guy that is very near and dear to my heart. We convinced him to do the half marathon, and just a few weeks ago, he had basically never ran in his life.
That's not true.
A little bit. He ran a little bit. Anyways, he signed up for the half marathon, and Evan is someone that's actually from Charlotte, so I know him from a previous life, and he moved here, and we did a podcast when I first arrived, and he's an all-around amazing individual. He's an offer owner of the Remote Cleaning Institute, multi-six-figure per month business owner. He was a closer who transitioned into doing his own thing, so I want to give you guys some perspective on what it looks like to go from closing to being a business owner. So he has personal first-hand experience with that. Let's give a round for Evan Hovich.
Right here?
And we're figuring out the audio, by the way.
I don't know what this piano is. I have no idea. I like it.
We good? We good?
Yeah. The piano's kind of nice. It's like a piano ride.
Can you make it a little lower? Turn it up.
Focus on the technical difficulties, team. The wall. We're closers. We're not technical audio video.
Whatever Delaney's doing, you guys do it wrong.
What's up? You're gonna be recording the whole thing, right? No. Shoot. Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta get a good seat.
What's up?
You gotta give me a good seat though. I'm only like floating around.
Oh.
Plus that's what all this is.
Oh, yeah, that's being recorded. Sweet. I'm good? All right, guys. Yo, 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 yo. What's up, guys?
Hey, one more round of applause for Evan. Let's hit it.
All right, guys. So my name is Evan Hovich. Moved to Austin about 6 months ago. Tristan, thank you for having me, brother. This is really full circle. I have my first setter/closer here. That was on my offer. One of my most successful students that's now making over 60K a month right there, Rodrigo. So this is really awesome. Last night I was thinking about what I'm going to talk about. I started making a presentation, and then I said, fuck this. I really want to speak from my heart. I want to give you guys a lot of sauce. I want to give you a lot of value. And I really just want to speak from the heart overall. So there's 3 main points I want to go over today. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I want to tell you about the power of trust. And then I want to tell you guys talk about vices. But yeah. Also, I do have a health condition, so there are times I feel like I'm going to pass out. If that's the case, I'm going to sit down and talk to you guys. All right? Cool. All right, so a little bit about me. I grew up in a apartment in New York City or in Brooklyn with a single mom, 1 sister. Completely broke, no money, and I knew I wanted to figure it out. I didn't want to grow up the way I did. I wanted to provide the life that I never had. And I believe as a man, it is your responsibility to take care, provide, or at least be able to provide for your family if need be, right? Was hustling since I was 15 years old, selling bracelets, doing random shit, had a marketing agency just like everyone in high school, scaled it to maybe about 10K a month, went to college, dropped out, did the whole drinking, partying, all that crap. And what really changed everything for me was mentors and coaches, right? The wheel has already been invented. You have 2 options, right? Either A, you can either try to figure it out, spend a lot of time and money trying to, get to point A through B, or you could pay someone that's, done exactly what you want to do. And that's essentially the model that I went after, and that's what changed the game for me completely. Took home my first $1 million last year, was completely broke until I was 19 years old. And the one thing that I will tell you and I learned is money is not everything. You chase something for so long, and when you finally achieve it, it's like, okay, what then? But I actually want to start off on the vice thing first, because this is one of the biggest things that's shaped me. I want you guys to be super honest with me, every one of you in here. Who has gambled or placed a sports wager in the past 12 months? Okay. Now, out of those people, I know I was talking to you about it yesterday, out of the people that have placed a sports wager in the past 12 months, who thinks that they have a problem or are scared to admit that they have a problem? Anybody here? Nobody? Really? Did you raise your hand? No. Oh, okay.
I can definitely relate.
I used to.
You used to, okay. So, gambling and a vice is one of the biggest things that's changed my life completely. I got addicted to sports gambling, super bad, lost. Every podcast, everything I go on, I say a different number because it just keeps adding up, and I keep finding other offshore accounts that I place money into. But I probably lost a total of $1 million in 6 months. It doesn't matter how much money you make if you can't keep it, right? That goes into health. Through sports gambling and doing all these types of things, it has put a massive strain on my health. Overall, constant anxiety, constant worrying. And a lot of people, I advocate for this. And when I talk to people that sports gamble that are younger, they're like, Evan, I don't have a problem. I only make, $1,000 a week at my job. I get my paycheck, I lose $500, $1,000 a week. The only thing that making more money will do is just make your wagers larger, right? It's the only thing that will happen. And a lot of people that have their vices, they don't think it's a problem early on. They have the mindset, I'm young, I'm gonna figure it out, It's gonna change. I have time, I don't have a family yet, but before you know it, you're gonna be fucked. And all these things are gonna happen in your life that you don't even realize. And before you know it, you're gonna be essentially down in the gutter. So the biggest thing that I wanna talk about in terms of a vice and that kind of stuff is really think about what you're doing overall. How are you spending your money? Are you keeping your money, right? Are you investing your money? And make sure to be open and honest about what you're doing overall, because this thing almost literally took my life. And I'm so grateful that I don't do it anymore. I haven't gambled in 5 months now. Yeah, so that's one of the biggest things that's essentially shaped kind of my mindset overall, just because, like I said, it doesn't matter how much money you make if you're not smart with it overall. So on to another tangent. I want to talk to you guys about the power of trust and authority. I think that's one of the biggest things that has changed the game for me overall, is making sure people trust you, right? Making sure when you're in a room and you're talking to people, you're being not only honest with them, you're being so transparent to the point where this person, I would not say envies you, but this person respects you, right? Respect is very, very hard to gain, but it's very easy to lose overall, right? And I think everyone in this room knows about that. So my offer, Remote Cleaning Institute, it's an $8,000 package. We've been consistently doing over 100K a month for the past year. And I felt myself getting very complacent, okay? I didn't have a proper sales team in place. We were getting a lot of referrals, but we weren't really growing, right? This guy, Jason over here, was begging me to get a fire VSL for about 6 months. But eventually we did get one in the door after he left. Sorry, Jason. But I felt very complacent, bless you. I felt very complacent and stuck, right? I didn't necessarily know what to do. I was comfortable, I was traveling, and I started an upsell, okay? This upsell I started, I think Tristan, I went to your house the first time I ever sold this. I was like, I'm gonna do something crazy. I have a lot of conviction in what I do, right? I sold a remote cleaning business. I believe that every single person that joins my program, I can help. And with conviction, you have to have the mindset over all of this. Brother, sister, not literally, if you do not join my program, I'm doing you a disservice. Because I know that if you do not join all the goals that you mentioned to me earlier, you want to travel, you want to build freedom for your family, you want to do all these great things. If you do not sign up for what I have to offer, I am doing you a disservice. So starting having, and Jason, I know I always told you this, starting having the mindset of, if you do not bring that person into the program knowing that you can help them, apologize to them before they go. Hey, listen, man, I'm really sorry. Like, I clearly didn't do a good enough job of explaining how something like this can change your life. What can I do for the next person that I get on a call with to ensure that this doesn't happen to them?
Amen.
Right? So mindset overall is like building something with so much conviction, because I know every single person has been on an offer, or a lot of you have been on an offer that you didn't truly believe in. You didn't want to know the back end results, right? You didn't really want to know that 60% of people were failing. I really hope none of you in here want to take, a single mother's last dollar, knowing that they're probably not going to succeed. Not because they don't want it, but because the program is crap, right? So with this remote cleaning business, I actually sold the remote cleaning business. That's how I got into it. I built it up and sold it myself and then decided to start coaching on it. I started an upsell, 40K a month, or not a month, 40K one-on-one to work with me, and they gave me 10% of their company. When I first started this upsell, I thought to myself, I didn't really are people gonna wanna pay that much, or is the value worth it? The biggest learning curve and change in my mindset was, do you believe that you can help someone get to X point? Because if you can, it's invaluable as long as it makes sense, right? If you can get someone from 10K a month to 50K a month and raise their monthly $40,000, that's $500,000 a year, is that worth a 40K investment? Of course, right? If I was to tell all of you guys that, what's your name? Sarah. Sarah, if you heard one day from the lottery gods, you woke up in the middle of the night and you heard from lottery god that number 14 at the gas station was gonna make you $5 million, okay? You just knew it, but that lottery was 100K to buy. Would you find 100K to buy that lottery ticket? Yes. Right? Value proposition. So this upsell that I started, I just started going in with so much conviction, the same mindset. I'm 9 for 9. I've gone on 9 calls selling that upsell. I've sold every single one of them. Rodrigo soon is gonna be number 10 back there. But anyway, so the biggest lesson in that for me overall is trust, right? I have so much conviction. These people feel that radiation through the computer screen, right? So how do you build that trust? So there's two ways essentially, right? If you're just on a sales call, I know a lot of you guys are setters, closers. One call close, you can build some trust, but it's very difficult for people to really trust you, right? You can build temporary trust, but they don't really know you. But upsells, right? All these people that I'm talking about in here were people that joined my program. And that's why it's so important to build something so good and that you have so much conviction in, because you know that every single person that wants it, you're gonna be able to help, right? So the biggest lesson in these upsells for me that I have is do people right? Do good by people. Care about them, care about their results, and never do anything that you wouldn't charge so much money for, because then it's not worth it if you wouldn't do it yourself, right? So yeah, guys, overall, the biggest lesson I think that I've learned through my journey over the years is I was really doing an analyzation of my life at the end of this past year, and I was thinking about, okay, besides gambling, because that's obvious, right? What else is harming my life? What else am I doing that's not serving me, right? Doom scrolling, right? Instagram, scrolling reels, crap that I don't need to even read, and you don't even realize it, right? If you say, I started training my mindset, oh, I'm working 12 hours a day. I'm working 10 hours a day, but am I really? Right? Take a couple calls here. Next thing I know, I go to the bathroom. 2 hours later, I'm scrolling, right? Developed a hemorrhoid from that. No, I'm just kidding. But taking your time very seriously, because that's all we have. And I know, I think someone was talking about it earlier, I think his name's Simon, how everyone thinks that they're young and they have so much time, etc. You really don't, right? When I was talking to you guys about health, I spent a week over Christmas in the hospital. I went on a trip to Sedona, was in the hospital there for a week. Been to 4 hospitals in the past year. I had open heart surgery when I was a kid. Was completely fine my whole life. And a year ago, everything turned. But it's crazy. It's because this has also been the hardest year of my life health-wise, but it's also been the best year of my life business-wise. How does that happen? So much conviction in what I do, right? Jason knows this. My program probably got last year 40 referrals, right, Ellie? So building something that you're so passionate about, but also it's a common thought. It's do I need to love what I do, or can it just be a tool, right? Because if you can get some cash flow and you can do something, I know a lot of you guys that are setting and closing, I was once a closer. It's is this something that you guys want to do forever? Probably not, right? You probably want to make your own offer one day, etc. But developing your skills, right? Developing your skills, being good at something, and if you know how to sell, you can get out of any situation in your life, right? If you know how to sell it's not even about the art of convincing people, it's the art of helping people, right? Changing the mindset overall to how can I help you has been a total game changer. But I really want to speak to everyone that started as a closer or everyone that is a closer right now. I started on, I don't know if any of you know Josh Rivera, Direct to Deals. I started on his offer, closed for him about 8 months. Honestly, he's probably the biggest and best mentor that I've ever had in my life. He's honestly just such a great individual overall. But take the offer you're on very seriously. Develop your skills and become the absolute best you can be, right? Compete. But don't compete with the other people. Compete with yourselves, right? Because you're your limiting belief and your ceiling is what you create for yourself, right? If you put in your mindset, oh, I'm going to make 10K this month, or I can only make 10K a month, I don't think you're going to make much more than that if you even hit 10K a month, right? Believe you're worth more overall. I think that's kind of just the mindset you have to have overall is being able to do that. So yeah, and then leadership. One of the biggest things that I think that has failed me overall is my ability to be a leader. And I think that about 5 months ago when I stopped gambling, everything changed for me in terms of being a leader. But if you're not a good leader, who's going to want to follow you? Who's going to want to respect you? And I know I keep bringing Jason up because he was kind of he was part of the growth of RCI and he saw everything develop. I mean, this guy had pretty much no sales experience, worked 12 hours a day, did everything he can, and I wouldn't answer him for 2 days sometimes, right? He asked me to put in a really good VSL and like pretty much begging me for it, and I was just making excuses because I didn't feel like recording and I was traveling. And we were doing a lot of money per month because of referrals and our ads, etc. Is anyone going to want to be a part of that journey? No. I'm surprised he stayed for as long as he did, right? Seriously. Busting his ass off, but it all stems down for me, right? Every single one of you wants to be a leader one day if you're not already a leader. How are you going to lead other people if you can't lead yourself? Right? And I know Simon, I keep thinking that's his name, yeah, was talking about like, oh, you don't trust fat people, you don't trust people that don't take care of themselves. That's true, right? If you go to, a car dealership and there's a fat guy and there's a Simon on the other side, who are you going to choose? How do you expect someone to take care of you if you can't take care of yourself? Right? How are you going to expect that someone's going to give you the best deal on that car and they're going to make sure that you go out of there happy if after work they're going to McDonald's? It's true. And these are all things, everything that I'm talking about is things that I'm currently working on in my life. No one's perfect, right? Not everyone's a Simon. But it's one of those things like keeping in mind every single day, like how can I get 1% better every single day to make sure I can achieve the goals I want in the end overall. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got. If anybody has any questions overall for me, but I want to leave you guys with one last thing before I go off here. I know everyone's hungry. I'm young. I'm 22 years old. Age is just a number, right? It doesn't matter how young, how old you are, etc. Everyone starts somewhere. And start now. Start yesterday, right? It only takes 1 year to change your entire life.
That's right.
1 fucking year to change everything for you, right? Traveling, doing all the cool things, but doing it with fulfillment, doing it with purpose. Not traveling, not doing all these things once you have money, start going to vices, girls, this, that, drinking, all that stuff, just because now you feel that you've made it, right? There's a lot more to it. There's a lot more to it. And I never have told this story before, but when I was 15 years old, because of the family situation I was in, we had absolutely no money. I used to go, and I made amends for a couple of years later. Don't think I'm a really bad person for what I'm about to tell you guys. When I was 15 years old, I was making bracelets, okay? I used to walk around the neighborhoods. I was making good money, 15, made $100 a day sometimes even more, okay? And then my stepfather at the time, my mom's ex-husband, every time I would make the money, he would steal it from my room. So then I was like, all right, how am I gonna make more money? So one day I had an idea, and I walk into a neighborhood, and I go up to a door, and I was like, I'm gonna make a lot of money on the sale. How am I gonna do it? Open the door. Hey, how can I help you? Hi, we are selling bracelets for St. Jude's. She gave me $150. All right. I did that for about 3 days. Walked around selling bracelets for St. Jude's. Made a lot of money. At 15 years old, none of that dollar went to St. Jude's. Went to that guy. I made amends. Made a big donation to St. Jude's a couple of years after that. Much more than I actually did. But be ethical about everything you do. Even if you make dirty money, or if you're doing things unethically as a closer, right? Just to try to make the sale, it's not going to be sustainable for you. It's not going to last, right? People will find out who you are. The internet's a very scary place. If you're not doing people right, it will come back to bite you in the ass. All right. Anybody have any questions before I get off the mic here?
We'll start on time.
Cool. Well, thank you guys. It was a pleasure. Tristan, thank you, brother, for inviting me.
All right.
Thanks, bro.
All right, team. I know everybody's antsy. We got a bunch of food from Cabo Bob's and drinks, and we have a emergency
Oh, shit.
caffeine order placed. So we got energy drinks.
Don't buy that lottery ticket. You won't win.
So
Don't buy that lottery ticket. You won't win.
take a break. We're not gonna break for long.
I'm not the lottery god.
I'll keep you guys posted, but enjoy yourself, shake it out, go outside, and do the big thing. There's probably a good
Pray about
and
it.
the best way to do the food. I'm not the best guy for this, so we're gonna figure out some sort of single file line
Yeah, nice to
thing.
meet you,
Ladies first. Ladies, why don't we go first? Ladies first, and then we'll make a line for the food.
Thanks, brother.
All right, thank you, everyone.